This here's from NME. It's called Man Who Signed Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses Calls Johnny Depp the Worst Guitarist I'd Ever Seen. Suffice to say, it's pretty negative. The songs suck and membership is terrible. By the way, from April 12th, 2024, pretty new. Let's see what we got here. The man who signed Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses has said that he thought Johnny Depp was the worst guitarist I've ever seen. Tom Zutaut is a celebrated A&R executive, and in a recent interview on the X5 podcast, he disclosed that after seeing an early edition of a band that Depp was playing in before rising to Hollywood fame, he dismissed his musical talents offhand. I thought that Johnny Depp wasn't going to be a rock star, he said. You know, Johnny Depp auditioned for me twice. This is a funny story. I go to a rehearsal, a manager's friend of mine, and he goes, I got this band from Jacksonville. They're great. I go to see them, and they were terrible. Johnny Depp was the worst guitarist I'd ever seen, but his charisma was insane, you know. Wait a minute. So he's saying when he first met Johnny, like, what? Over 30 years ago or something? I mean, Oasis said they needed Johnny because they didn't know anyone else who could play slide guitar quite like him. I'm no expert. I actually do play guitar, just rhythm. But saying someone's the worst is a pretty big statement. Afterwards, I look at his manager and I say, listen, buddy, he can't make it, but you should get this kid an agent and put him on TV or on a movie. This kid's a star. But the songs suck and musicianship is terrible. Okay, so man, it would make you think that he said this like recently, like because of the Hollywood Vampires tour and the guy's trying to start up things and stuff like that. And, you know, some context here helps. All right. When Johnny was what, 20 something? The guy said he was the worst? Maybe he wasn't that great. Maybe he's not even an incredible guitarist. I'm not totally sure. I listened to his album tracks, basically the studio stuff, and it's pretty good. But it doesn't seem like there's a big need to be this harsh. No matter what. Only a few months later, Zutaut recalled Depp managed to secure an acting agent and landed a role in the television series 21 Jump Street, which we know, or I'm sure most of you know. Now, Depp is a member of the supergroup Hollywood Vampires alongside Alice Cooper and Aerosmith's Joe Perry. They have released 2 albums together to date and embarked on multiple world tours, the most recent of which took place in 2023, although Depp had to withdraw from a series of shows on that tour after fracturing his ankle. Yep, we remember that. Okay. And they say Depp was featured on some high-profile recordings like Oasis, which I mentioned, Shane MacGowan, and Iggy Pop. In other news about the actor-musician, last month, Depp's co-star in 2001's Blow, Lola Goldani, accused him of verbally abusing her on the set of the film, and they've got no follow-up explanation to that. Like the sound guy said he heard nothing. Like the podcast was a very low-budget, small-time podcast, and she was probably going for 15 minutes of fame like she saw a lot of other people these days do by mentioning Johnny or just mentioning someone else. All right, pretty bad writing there. Depp also caused confusion recently after sharing and then deleting an apparently photoshopped image of Robert Downey Jr. with himself after the latter's Oscar win. Yeah, I think I remember that. I can't recall details, but all right. I gotta digress, I just can't say. Back in 2022, Depp won a defamation case against ex-wife Amber Heard over a 2018 op-ed she wrote in the Washington Post. 2 years prior, Depp lost a libel case against The Sun after it published an article that referred to him as a bad thing by Dan Wooten that we know. Okay, so the ending here is pretty crappy. No context and just mentioning some random stuff about Johnny. After you read the article, it's not terrible with the full context. Because, hey, who knows? Maybe Johnny was bad like 30-something years ago. Obviously, he's making it pretty good now as a musician. So they want you to believe, I think, this guy said this recently about the modern day Johnny. Still, all in all, kind of crappy, kind of a creepy article, I guess. It feels kind of dim. I don't know these people. I've probably covered them once in a while. I guess I'll put them on the not on Johnny's side list. If you're not subscribed here, consider it. If you don't, I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. We're done here for now. See you next time.